everyone on the internets. Aloha. Okay, here we go. Aloha, listeners and patrons. This is Stuart Yoshida, host of the OokTown Podcast, where we talk about all things ukulele. We've got quite a slate of guests, both returning and new. And we're going to focus this time on the mud. Mighty Ukulele Day. Thank you. Wow. I just had a brain freeze there. And we're also going to cover a whole range of things. I just thought it would be great because mud is coming up and I think that it would be great to hear from some of the participants and talk about things like workshops and all kinds of good stuff. Plus, I want to talk about Namm. Ben, did you go to Namm?
Yeah, I think Stephen and I were both at Namm.
Great.
I was there with Farida ukulele and guitars, and Stephen was there with Kanalea. And
I can see that. I see your shirt. Yeah, nice. Good. See, good product placement. All right. Well, we'll save those thoughts. We're going to talk about that. And before we do, before I bring on all my guests, just wanted to give a couple shout outs. First of all, to a patron, Michelle. Michelle, mahalo for getting in touch with Natalie Dawn. I'm going to try and get her on the show. That'd be great. And Sabrina of, I know I'm going to mess this up, Grand Paname Orchestra of Paris. I don't know. Is that any of that? If any of that was supposed to be French, I probably really messed it up. Is anyone on here? Cynthia, you're from Canada. Do you speak French?
Some, yes.
Okay. How do you pronounce that in the shout outs? It says Sabrina of, how would you say that in?
Well, if it's French, it might be Grand Paname. I don't know.
I think that would probably be closer to what I said. So I'm going to go with you. So thank you for getting in touch with me and writing. It was we talked about women in ukulele. She wanted to let us know that the group she's in has 14 people, 7 of them are women. It looks like a great fun group. And hey, Sabrina, if you're listening, if you can post a video of your group on YouTube, that would be great. I am not a Facebook person, so I apologize. I know that seems odd, but I think the Facebook OokTown page is thanks to Doug. So Doug, thank you.
Yes. So we, if you send us something there, I may or may not see it because today I just feel like I have nothing.
Nothing
under control. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's okay. Do you have your laptop there? Can you take notes?
I do.
All right. Okay. We'll give it a shot. All right. Well, let me bring my first guest on here, returning guest, Ben Hassenger of Mighty Ook Day. Ben, good to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a lot about mud today. And
it's spring here, so it's pretty muddy.
It will get that way, yeah. And I'm going to bring on another returning guest, Cynthia Kinnunen, who we've had on a couple times. So you're almost like a regular here. Cool. Yeah, great to have you back. We've been trying to get you on the show, and thanks for being flexible. I know I had to cancel a couple shows or whatever; it just didn't work out. So great to have you.
It's all good. Thanks.
And next, I want to bring on first-time guest. Always excited to have a new guest, Stephen Espaniola. And he's living in the Bay Area, but he's a Kama'aina from Aliamanu over there near Aloha Stadium. If you guys know Hawaii, that's pretty cool. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Mahalo for having me.
Yeah, anytime. It's great to see that you're on here. Get you on here, rather. And then my co-host, Doug Brown.
Hey, everybody.
And Doug is the circus master over at the Denver ukulele community. What's coming up for the Denver ukulele community?
Well, what's not coming up for the Denver community is the
good question.
So the biggest thing is Uke Fest, Denver Uke Fest is coming up, and we're all looking forward to that. And then the April meeting is coming up, the third Saturday of the month. That's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be rain songs, but we haven't,
good idea.
We haven't settled yet. But yeah, we've had just a wonderful ukulele start of the year, though. It's been fantastic.
Well, anything about mud and rain, I think would be good for April.
Oh, I hear that.
And speaking of mud and rain, Ben, tell us about mud. What's coming up for mud?
Well, we've got Mighty Uke Day 9, believe it or not.
Wow.
We had Mighty Uke Day 1, and it was just kind of like an open mic and a showing of the Mighty Uke movie. And I never knew there was going to be more than another one. So, yeah, this is our 9th year. We've got a great lineup, including Bo Stephen and Cynthia. And Danielle ate the sandwich. The Naked Waiters. Yeah, she's coming. Yeah. And
Naked Waiters.
Abigail Stoffer and Matt Dahlberg will all be there, teaching workshops and performing. And we'll have our usual open mic featured performer stage. The world's largest ukulele will be there again.
Yes.
Made by Larry Stump of Diamonddale, Michigan.
Wow, I assume you're using a low G on that one.
That's a very low G, believe me. It's like a telephone wire or something. I'm not sure what's on that. But it's great. This is our 9th year, and it raises money for Music is the Foundation, which is a nonprofit that I founded.
Wow.
And it supports ukulele programs in Michigan communities and classrooms.
Great. Well, I want to talk a lot about some of that programming that you guys are doing, especially in regard to what Cynthia is doing too with the James Hill Jahui stuff. And I keep forgetting what it's called. Help me out, Cynthia.
Jahui. That's good.
Jahui. It is. Yeah. You know, I saw that. I go, that's how I want to pronounce it. And that's how you guys pronounce it. I was like, wow.
Yeah. It's much easier to say than the full name. So
yeah. Well, and so Cynthia, you've got an ukulele festival coming up too. Oh, wait. Before we go from Ben, when is Mud?
Mighty Uke Day is May 10th through 12th, which I think is the same time as the Denver Uke Fest, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
yeah,
and this
always is.
I know.
That's what we're doing. You know, that's going to be a triple ukulele festival day.
Right, because it's Ganoof too.
Yeah, Ganoof is going to be doing that. It's going to be in Denver. This is like a aligning of the planets or something.
Well, last year, remember we did kind of a broadcast of all three of us.
Right.
That was pretty. We ought to try that again this year.
Well, yeah, and just get some headphones for some people, and maybe get a room or something if you can, and we can even because I'm going to try and get the people from Ganoof, so it'd be like an incredible like transcontinental triple transcendental ukulele festival podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
so
well, go ahead. Yeah, ours is May 10th through 12th, and it's in Old Town Lansing, which is the original. It's a historic district of Lansing that's full of art galleries and Elderly Instruments is there, which of course is one of the premier stores in the country, in the world.
Yeah.
And it's just a great time. It's in about 8 or 10 different places all around Old Town. So it's not the self-contained type of thing. You really get to explore the area, check out all the little stores. We have a shuttle bus that goes between all the different stops, and it's really an experience.
Well, I'd like have a meltdown going to Elderly, I think. I've only seen their catalog online. I've never been there, but it sounds amazing.
Cynthia's been there.
Yeah, and I didn't leave without a ukulele either.
See, that's what I'd be afraid about. Yeah, the ukulele acquisition.
I don't know, Stephen, have you been there?
No, but I'm a huge fan of Elderly Online, so I'm definitely looking forward to going.
Well, you will definitely be in there while you're at Mighty Uke Day. So
awesome.
Well, and if Elderly is looking to sponsor a podcast, the OokTown Podcast is available.
I was actually going to say that. I was going to see if they wanted to sponsor us. Actually, I'm pretty serious. So if you have a contact, let me know and I'll get in touch with them. All right.
And unfortunately, I just got a text from work and I have got to go. So,
Oh,
aloha.
no.
Aloha.
Aloha. Okay.
I thought this was your work.
Oh, no. He's got it. They must have some PA or AV emergency that he needs to take care of. Bummer. All right. Well, let's see. Why don't we get into the topics here? In particular, I was going to talk about, first of all, what are you guys going to be presenting at the Mighty Uke Day? Let's start off with let's make it easier for Steve, since Steven. Do you go by Steven or Steve? What do you want? Steven. Yeah, let's
Do you remember what workshops you're doing, Steven? I can tell you.
Yeah, I was hoping you would.
Okay. When it's his turn, remind him. Well, let's start off with Cynthia. Do you remember, Cynthia?
I do, because I made notes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm a keener that way.
You are a keener. You're a keener, that's for sure.
I know. So I've got 4 workshops lined up at Mighty Uke Day. I'm going to be teaching
4 workshops, you said?
4 workshops. 4.
4 different ones?
Yeah. Ben's a slave driver. He's hardcore, man.
I'm
Really? Yeah. I mean, holy moly.
I know.
Okay.
So chord seasonings is one that I'm teaching, which is, there's the whole play on words around the cooking aspect of it, but just, you know, creating some new sounding chords based on chords you might know already to make your song sound a little more interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing one focused on rhythm. It's called Rhythm is Gonna Getcha. And we'll explore, you know, getting outside of the standard strum pattern and sort of feeling some different vibes and grooves and applying those into some songs. And I have another one that's a Celtic one called Up Your Kilt, or Up Your Kilt, if you need to say it with the Scottish accent.
Yeah.
So that will be fun. Kilt's optional. Maybe underpants optional too. I don't know. I don't even go there. And then the last one is going to be focused on one of my favorite decades, which is the 80s, and it's called Like Totally 80s. And it's going to be all 80s tunes and some different techniques and making those songs sound like the character that they have from back in the 80s. So those are awesome. My 4 workshops there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
You are going to be one busy person there. Yeah. Let's see. So I want you to think about, like, choose one of those workshops, and then I want to talk about, you know, what are some of the key things, 1 or 2 things that you like people to take away from it, and maybe they can refer back to this after they get home, you know.
Oh, okay. Pressure's on then.
Oh, I know.
Better make sure I deliver if I say something.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Think of it that way. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to Steven here. Steven, what's the one you're going to do?
So Ben, what was the one
Steven is you're doing your Hawaiian strumming parts 1 and 2.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And he's doing one about using effects pedals with ukulele, which is called pedal power, which is obviously happening more and more. And let's see, I'm scrolling through them here on our website. That might be it. I think we gave Cynthia 1 extra one because she wanted it.
Wow! All right.
So you took one of mine.
Oh no! You got Oh, you got the essence of Hawaiian singing too.
Oh,
if you guys have never heard, Stephen Espaniola, he's got this beautiful, beautiful voice.
Yes.
And I think that's what really got me hooked on you in the first place, Stephen. And because there's so many of the performers nowadays are all instrumentalists, and that's fine. But I think what really connects with people is singing. Sure. And Stephen just has that gorgeous Hawaiian falsetto.
Okay, so I was wondering, go ahead.
Well, and he can sing. He'll sing traditional Hawaiian songs, and then he'll also do his own original tunes, which are very influenced, I think, by the traditional Hawaiian music. But it's just wonderful. I just love that stuff.
Cool. So Stephen, do you do the Hawaiian falsetto?
I do. Yeah. Very leoki'eki is what it's called. It's a style of singing that was born in Hawaii, influenced by many different outside influences like Paniolo, the Western cowboy influence, a lot of missionary influence.
Yeah, definitely.
There's also some a little bit of elements of Hawaiian chanting in the singing style too. So it's all of that kind of combined to bring the Hawaiian falsetto.
Yeah, very cool. I know that it's very much an art, and it's not like a lot of people sing Hawaiian music, but the falsetto is definitely a specialty.
Yeah, it's a lot of a lot of people assume that it's only sung in the higher falsetto range, but a lot of falsetto style of singing is actually done in the tenor range. And then there's that what's called a ha'i, or that break point, which brings you into the higher falsetto range. So it's the mastery of that ha'i, or that break, is what gives that falsetto singer their own voice. You know, everyone has their own ha'i or break point.
Yeah,
so it's finding that.
I would think just smoothly to get to that is the real trick too.
Right.
So it's not like you said, not a big break, but it's just you slide right up into that, and that's
it's a challenge.
Amazing.
Yeah. Definitely. I can't think of very many Hawaiian falsetto singers. I know Rete Helm. What is his name also? Kali'i Rachel. Does he do that? I don't think he does.
Not primarily, but I've heard a couple of songs where he has kind of ventured a little bit into the falsetto range.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's kind of a new generation of singers now, or younger groups that are kind of carrying on the tradition, which is
good.
Nice. Yeah.
Because that's what I was going to ask about. Saying I can't think of too many. And what was the old school ones? Did Auntie Genoa do that too?
Yeah, Auntie Genoa is one of my big influences.
But she's passed. She died.
She passed away.
Yeah, and see, and so I hope she passed it on to.
There's actually her granddaughter is a great falsetto singer. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones.
There's Darlene. Somebody, did she do falsetto? Anyway, but I think
Darlene Ahuna.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's from the Big Island. She's a great falsetto singer as well.
All right. Well, good. But I hope I'm glad to hear they're passing it on. That's a really a beautiful tradition, and
for sure.
It kind of takes. It's so, and to me, it's indicative of the Hawaiian culture, and that, this is one of the themes I have in my workshop, which is I call it origins and immigrants. I mean, the ukulele has so many aspects of immigrants in it. The Hawaiians themselves were not of the islands, right? They came from the South Pacific.
Right.
The ukulele itself wasn't from the islands. It came from Portugal.
Right.
And then all of these influences came, and then it immigrated to the mainland, and it just blew up,
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's like a lot of what makes Hawaiian music, especially like things like the guitar, which was brought over by the Vaqueros Cowboys. Espaniola,
absolutely.
It was gifted to us, and we took that present and created our own tunings to develop slack key, which is a very unique sound to Hawaii as well.
Absolutely. A friend of mine is in the Hawaiian Steel Guitar Association. On the, Alan Akaka?
Oh yeah, great steel guitar player.
And he has such a touch. So you guys are awesome, because you're carrying on these traditions, and it absolutely is. The Hawaiians were so open to, maybe too open to all these other influences, and they grab them and put it together into a amazing cultural and musical traditions that I don't know. I want us to. I like to have people appreciate that. This is how it came to be such great music, and that's why I always emphasize. Right now, I'm emphasizing the immigrant aspect of the ukulele. Sorry, that was my soapbox.
No, that was great. That was great.
All right. So I want you guys a little later on to think about, if you had to pick one of your workshops, what are some of the takeaways I want the people to think about? But while you're thinking about that, I want to get back to Ben, and I had a question for you about this. Is an interesting thing that's happening. I don't know if it's going to become more popular, but it's that we're having ukulele organizers attend as guests other ukulele festival, and Ben, you and Cynthia are prime examples. So
right. Well, this Cynthia and I actually, we got to know each other in person, I think 2 years ago, last Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like we've known each other forever. In fact, I call her my ukulele sister. She invited me to the first two Royal City ukulele festivals, which is her festival. She hosts in Guelph, Ontario. And she's taught Uktoberfest up at Interlaken with me. Uh-huh. And this year's is at Mighty Uke Day and Midwest Uke and Harmonica Camp, which Stephen taught at a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And
Harmonica? I also wait a minute.
Where, I first met Cynthia at that camp too.
Yeah,
right, because she was an attendee at that.
So, what does Hawaiian music have to do with harmonica?
I thought the same thing, and I was blown away when I got there. I was so blown away when I got there.
Well, and we've also had the cross pollination with Gerald Ross and myself.
Oh, okay,
because I've taught at the Ashokan Ukulele Retreat for the last 6 years, I think, and he's taught it. He's been at Mighty Uke Day, Midwest Uke Camp, and Uktoberfest as well. So I think when another organizer comes to teach and work at your camp, they bring a wealth of experience with them, not only in teaching, but just they know the drill as far as running an ukulele festival. I know with Gerald especially, he brought me there at first just to help him, kind of be his right hand person.
Ashokan. Oh, really?
The first year I didn't even teach. And then he thought, well, as long as you're here, you might as well teach. So, but
I didn't realize you're at the first one because
I started at the second one.
Okay, I remember him talking about that, and I was like blown away that he was like, he'd been going to so many ukulele festivals, and all of a sudden he was like, yeah, I'm going to do the Ashokan. I'm like, really?
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, he's that's a nice, beautiful camp. But like I was saying, I think that, like if Cynthia runs a ukulele festival, and I know if I got in a bind and I needed to put out a fire, I could probably say, Cynthia, this is going on and I don't have so-and-so here. And she would kind of just, she could take charge and know what to do. I can do the same thing at her festival. Luckily, I don't think either of us have had to put out any fires for each other, but that experience, just from the organizational point of view, I think is really helpful because they understand what's going on. Sometimes I think an instructor might come in and they don't really know everything that's going on behind the scenes,
Yeah. And having just one person be the point person, like I think at Denver Ukulele Festival is pretty well staffed. And they're pretty well experienced, so that's great,
Right, and that's where we're at too, with Mighty Uke Day, and
you've got at least 2 or 3 people who really know the drill. And
this year they're going to be doing a little more than usual because I'm going to have a couple challenges this year at it. But and the same thing with Cynthia; she's got a great group there in just 2 years. Cynthia, I think you've put quite a team together there. So
yeah, so Cynthia, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say too that, and I find that I learn a lot too as a presenter and as an organizer. Like it's been so great to be able to go to other festivals and play these other roles, and especially with Ben so close, it's been really a nice complementary kind of relationship too. Other than the fact that I totally love Ben too, but I also just find that it's so we have, similar people that go and similar audiences, and, I can bounce ideas off of him so there's just this really nice synergy that I find that you can have with when people are, and the other thing is that people are both presenters and and organizers. And there's, some people are organizers, and that's the thing. They bring in all the people, but it's there's a few folks that do all of it, and it's really nice to have some of those other similar minds to.
Well, I like your point, Cynthia, about learning from each other. I know the different festivals I teach at, I always pick up something, I'll pick up things to do and pick up things not to do, maybe, but I always get new ideas. And in fact, just from Royal City last year, there was like a couple things. Well, we're going to do that at Mighty Youth Day, something like that.
Well, they were things you're going to do and not.
Well, yeah,
not that we're never doing that.
Yeah, I'm not doing. There's no way I'm doing that. Right?
And you may be kidding about that, but you do learn when things.
Absolutely.
When you see things at a festival, it's like, wow, that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
It's great to pick that up and say, well, we can avoid that or stop doing that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And where I was going with this too is that it sounds like a great place for budding ukulele festival organizers to come by and enjoy and maybe help or participate, whatever the case may be. I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, it's a community and it's a family, and Cynthia certainly does, and I always welcome other organizers to come and just see what we're doing and learn from it, and then they can give some input. Hey, I saw this and that, why don't you try this? And it's kind of coming from another place and go, I never thought of that. That's a great idea. So I think we all have a lot to share with each other.
Right. And I think, for instance, I'm sure Gerald, as a participant in so many ukulele festivals, was picking up on all these ideas, and I'm sure that helped him out with the Ashokan.
Sure.
And
he's got a situation there where he does all the hiring of all the talent and makes the schedule, but then everything else, the meals and everything are taken care of by the Ashokan. I mean, the Ashokan Nature Center is a huge thing in itself, and this is one part of it.
I was wondering about that, because that's a lot to provide room and boarding to all the participants.
Right.
So
he doesn't
that
have
makes
to
sense.
worry about all the details of that necessarily. Okay. So he can just focus on, getting the instructors and putting the schedule together and taking care of the attendees. So.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate organizers like that. I know that for myself, when I was trying to do workshops and I had to do everything myself, book the room, schedule the people, collect the money. I mean, it's like your head wants to explode, because you really I want to just focus in on, hey, I want to give a really great material and make this so fun and interactive, and yet I have to worry about everything else. So when you have ukulele people like you, it just takes so much of the pressure off.
Well, and I found too with Mighty, because I love to teach. I just love teaching, but I've had to restrain myself from doing that at any of my festivals. At Mighty Youth Day and Midwest Youth Camp. Yeah. Because I'm just responsible for too many other things.
Oh, yeah.
And then when if I do teach a class, I'm just a little bit distracted. So
right.
I'd rather just, hire some great teaching artists like Stephen and Cynthia. And then I just deal with the administrative stuff and putting out fires and, saying hi to everybody. So
I
haven't learned that lesson yet.
Yeah, I know.
You try to do both?
I do.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Well, partially because I'm trying to save a little money too.
Right. I understand. I do that at the Interlochen one at Oktoberfest. Yeah. But these other two are just got to be so huge. There's just no way. So
well, speaking of workshops, who wants to start in terms of, if you had to pick a workshop, and what are some of the key things you want people to take away from the workshop? What would that be?
Stephen.
Okay.
Stephen.
So I teach a very it's been proven to be really popular, a Hawaiian strumming workshop. I actually split it up into two different workshops because there's so much to offer. The beauty of Hawaiian strumming is impossible to contain into one workshop, so I've divided it into two separate ones. So I like to share a lot of when I used to travel along to different ukulele groups across, up and down the coast, I would notice that folks would kind of get bogged down with just the one type of strum, like a up and down strum. So I like to encourage them to kind of explore the beauty and finding different rhythmic possibilities with the instrument. A lot of people kind of get sidetracked and wanting to learn picking a lot, and I try to detour them to the world of strumming and finding their own rhythms and sharing some of the Hawaiian different strumming patterns.
I think that's really I do a workshop called Strums of a Different Color, and using that. But the Hawaiian strum in particular I think it's challenging. I'm
very
from
tricky.
Hawaii.
Yeah, it's
almost like when people are trying to learn reggae, it's like, no, you've always learned to do the on the backbeat, and reggae is totally different. But yeah, so what are some of the aspects of, how would you describe the rhythm of the Hawaiian strum?
Well, it's a very, you have to take the workshop.
Don't give it all away.
No,
I would love that.
The thing about Hawaiian strumming is it's very syncopated. So and it plays against the singing. So in most cases, it kind of plays counter to what the singing is doing and what all of the other instruments are doing. The ukulele kind of is the glue that holds the bass and the guitar together to make this cohesive music. So it's a very, I try to teach it. The way I was taught when I was growing up is I was basically taught with watch.
Yes.
Don't ask questions. Watch and see if you can emulate. So I try to take that style of how I learned and kind of translate it into a more structured Western sort of teaching. With time signatures and measures and things like that. So it's a very, but I try not to get too wrapped up in sheet music so that people are kind of glued to their pages. I try to incorporate a little bit of that organic style.
It is so more very organic, and I think most people would notice that a Hawaiian artist, many times they play the rhythm and you recognize the type of rhythm they're playing, but it doesn't sound like they're playing it the same twice, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
It's like it makes some people uncomfortable, and well, I mean, it's like it's not necessarily it is repeatable if you listen long enough, but it's not. I don't know how to describe it. Someone described it to me as like almost like because of the organic nature of it, it's like riding a horse, or maybe the sea breeze, or the something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's where it became so organic. I don't know.
Or it could be the beer.
The beer. Absolutely, because it's like a feel in the backyard, and it was,
Maybe you skip a beat the second time around or something. I don't know.
Oh no.
Bring it.
It is also typical. Everyone, the old style. Everyone I hear says, it was like you go in and you listen to the masters, and you don't ask questions necessarily. You just watch and listen and emulate. And I think that's hard for Western music, because we have more of a, not academic. What do I want to call it? But it's they want
a little bit more structured.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And people are usually naturally inquisitive and want to ask questions. So to be in that kind of format where you're not allowed to ask questions is a little tricky.
Yeah. But they can ask questions in your class, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I encourage it.
All right. Well, I wish I could go there, because I could use more work on my Hawaiian strumming. I do a Olapa strum, and that's about it.
Yeah, very cool. That's a hard one. That's a hard strum.
I probably don't play it very well. I just do it almost like a triplet. But anyway, I think it would be great. So
you need more beer, I guess.
I need more beer. All right, let's go over to Cynthia. What do you want to get across in one of your workshops?
Well, since Stephen just talked about rhythm, I'll choose another. But yeah, I also want to just say though that I attended when I was at Midwest a few years ago. I attended Stephen's Hawaiian Strum workshop.
Oh, yeah.
And what I enjoyed a lot of aspects of it. And one in particular was the ability, like you said, Stephen, where people could ask questions and kind of maybe go a little bit deeper into some different things where you could understand a bit more of the cultural aspects of it. And you could be a little bit of a storyteller and explain some things. I really enjoyed that because that really kind of gives it some context and kind of gets you in the zone. And that was, I thought, really lovely. So anyway,
awesome. Thank you.
That was really good.
Thank you.
So go to Stephen's workshop. But come to mine too. So I guess I would maybe mention the one, the chord seasonings one, I think. With all of the workshops that I teach in general, you're always hoping that people are going to walk away and not forget everything that you've told them or worked on. And at the very least, that they have one tangible thing that they can say. It can be overwhelming in workshops and people can throw their hands up or feel like they didn't learn anything. But if you can go into a workshop and say, if I can take away one thing, that's a success, to have one thing to work on, especially. And so my hope with that one would be that people would go back afterwards and maybe explore some songs that they've done lots of times the standard way, and maybe think, how can I make this sound a little more interesting? And maybe take some of what they've learned in the workshop around changing the feeling or the emotion of certain chords, and sort of exploring that, and maybe giving some new life to some songs that they've played for years, and which is a great way to apply it. Or even more deeper than that could be, getting into a bit more songwriting even too, and sort of exploring where you can take chord development and progressions and things. So that's kind of what I hope they would walk away with.
And that's always a good thing is, I like the idea of taking a song that and then applying what you learn to make it different. The chord, I'm not sure what exactly, but you take a chord and maybe it's playing it up the neck or different phrasing or whatever, chord substitution. But yeah, I think that's really important is get to apply what you learned as soon as possible. So that I think it is important to take that one thing away and then go, I'm going to try that at home. So all you people attending here, that's my advice is when you find that one thing, write it down and say, I'm going to try that when I get home or when I get outside, or what I mean, as soon as possible, try it out. Okay. And let me see if I, cross-pollination. Oh yeah, I was gonna say to Ben and Cynthia, do you think this is expanding in terms of cross-pollination, to other ukulele festivals? I think it would be great to bring over sometime some people from the Grand Northern, or one of the festivals over in Europe. That'd be great too.
I think, I think Cynthia and myself are somewhat unique in that we do the organization and we do teaching. It seems like, I would say maybe 75% of the cases, people are either a teaching artist or they're an organizer. And I think of most of the ukulele festivals, and I think maybe a majority of the organizers probably aren't necessarily teaching artists.
Right. I know what you're saying.
So I think the two of us, we're a bit unique in that way. There's certainly others, but so I'm not sure how big of a pool there is to draw from as far as people that play both sides of the coin there. But I
see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe it'll be more like a visiting scholar program. I don't know what you want to call it.
I'd love to have a summit of ukulele.
There you go, a summit.
It might have to be a virtual summit because there's people all over the country and the world.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a lot to learn from each other.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if anytime you guys want to have a summit, let me know and I can host it. Let's see. I mean, we already know quite a few of the organizers between, you know, you and me and Cynthia, I'm sure, because, you know, there's Mary Agnes Crow. She does one of the organizers for GNUF, and you do, and Gerald Ross, he's another organizer.
Well, and Craig and Sarah now are
and Sarah,
you know, they're organizing their own cruises as well as, I mean, they're two of the top instructors in the ukulele world.
When I was just in Finland in January at the Tropical Winter Ukulele Festival.
In Finland?
Which, yeah.
Nice.
Actually, it was awesome.
Really? Yeah, I saw that.
Arto Julkonen, who's the organizer there, is also a teaching artist as well. So that was another, he was a great sort of person to be bouncing ideas off of there too, while we stayed warm.
Okay, well,
it was very cold.
Yeah, I was going to say that was, they want to warm everyone up.
You got in touch with your roots, though. There, so.
Yeah,
I did. It was awesome. Yeah.
Was let's see, I think who else was there? Was Zoe Bestel there? I can't remember who else I knew was there. But speaking of Zoe, I think she's in Hawaii, or she was with visiting Hawaii Music Supply. Does anyone know Hawaii Music Supply?
I just saw a little clip from them online. Her and Tobias.
Yeah, Tobias. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. We didn't have Tobias. I didn't know he played the ukulele. I would have had him like join her when we had her on the show. I didn't realize that. I thought he was a bass player or a guitarist. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm sure he probably does that too. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Yeah. So yeah, I think if you guys want to have a ukulele festival organizer summit, either on a podcast or whatever, I think that would be great. So Cynthia, a couple, and Ben, a couple. Maybe we can just get them together, and
of course, we might have to have one that's not public too.
Right? Maybe that's we could have it like both.
We could have real dirt.
Yeah, right. We could do the hangout and keep that one. We don't broadcast that one, and then we'll go to the public one. Either way, I think it'd be great. And we know the organizers over at Swallow Hill, not Swallow Hill. Swallow Hill.
Actually, here I am, another a couple talented people that organize and teach are Kathy and Marcy, of course.
Right. Oh, they're a blast. They do organizing too, don't they? Yeah, they do a lot of festivals. That's great. So there you go. We could have those guys on too. All right. Well, something else to think about. Let's keep going down the list. Oh, yeah. So I want everyone to join in. And in particular, I wanted Cynthia to talk about her Jahui stuff, which is the James Hill ukulele.
Initiative.
Help me out. Initiative.
Jahui.
Yeah. You're getting kind of, are you like becoming the ambassador or something? What's going on here?
Well, to be honest, I actually work for James now. I actually part of his team, and I am his director of engagement for the Ukulele in the Classroom series, which is the method series that is taught in that three-year certification program. So yeah.
Perfect. See, there you go. So I've got the right person on. I just wanted to find out a little bit more on where that's going. So is this like going to roll out? Is it in person only? Is it virtual? And kind of what are the goals here in the next few years?
So the teacher certification in particular, that piece of it?
Sure. I'm not even quite clear on all the parts of this because I see
there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, ukuleles in the classroom, right? And that seems like, is that part of the initiative?
So there's a couple of different things. I mean, James always has lots of balls in the air, but the Ukulele in the Classroom has this series is the one that was created initially by Chalmers Doan back in the late 60s and 70s and had been used across Canada. And those were, James and Chalmers worked together to develop this updated series of these 3 books about 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now. And so they are used across Canada, and they are great method series that teaches music using the ukulele as the tool to teach it. So everything from music literacy to musicianship and ensemble playing and listening skills and all those things are all incorporated into it, and repertoire and different things. So that's one piece of it, and that's the piece I'm most closely involved with now, trying to engage teachers. So we have a new website and we have a teacher forum and all kinds of great stuff, and just trying to really support the teacher community there in lots of different ways, because it's nice to see that teachers are taking things seriously and wanting to increase their own skills and, you know, have a peer group to talk with. And then JHUI, which is the 3-year teacher certification, uses those, and each year is one of the levels. So there's a level 1, 2, and 3 in the books, and so it aligns with the certification. You learn how to teach level 1 in the first year that you do the teacher certificate, and then level 2, level 3, and it starts off with an in-person sort of conference kind of arrangement, and then you go off and you have monthly things you do online and lots of other things and teaching expectations and whatnot. And then in the end, there's testing and, you know, various other things, performance evaluations and stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
And so it's evolving. It's been going on for quite a number of years too now. And so I think there's being thought given to how to sort of continue to make it accessible for people, and still sort of maintain the expectations of what teachers are learning and doing. And so it's not just a complete free for all, but there's still some control over that. But yeah, it's evolving, and but right now that's been the format for it.
And I thought about the instructional part, which is kind of in parallel to the certification, right? I think I love the idea of a standardized way of teaching music through ukulele.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. So let's see if I can separate this out, because I wanted to talk about both of them. So in terms of the material itself, is this something that how can other people use this? Because there's a lot of music teachers that would be, I think, interested in using the ukulele in their classroom, right?
Yeah.
And so you got the ready-made stuff. How do they use that and access that? Is there some way you can do it in a kind of a programmatic way that they can be sure that they're doing it the right way, so to speak, quote unquote?
Right. Well, I mean, the ultimate way would be to go register for the certification and go through that process.
Sure.
But
and I think
that's not always feasible for a lot of people. So, you know, you can always purchase the books, and there's a teacher guide that goes with each of the levels too. Okay. And then you can work through it yourself, and you can use online resources like the Teachers Forum and lots of other things where you can, you know, if you were motivated enough, you could work through all of that yourself to a certain degree. And so there's definitely ways to do it on your own that way.
Yeah.
And the program itself is, I mean, it's been in place for 50 years, and it's aligned with school curriculum expectations and all kinds of things. So it's really, you know, it's very serious. I mean, it's serious and also fun and great and awesome and engaging and all those things, but it's a serious approach to teaching music using this lovely instrument that we all love. And so, yeah, it's totally doable by purchasing the books and the teacher's manual and connecting and all those things too. But there's lots of other benefits you get when you do the certification too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think one of the things is just access and time. You know, teachers have limited time and budget. I think it would be great if there was some way to access it, maybe in a one time or a couple time, just to purchase, where it includes time with James or yourself or somebody, you know, that's well versed in this, so that they can make sure that they're on the right track using this stuff. Because I think it's a great resource to be able to have a standardized way of rolling it out. Because I hear a lot of great things about, hey, you know, ukulele is in the classroom, and people are continually creating it from scratch, so to speak. You know, they'll use their own existing curriculum and then try and incorporate the ukulele, and it's like this would be excellent to standardize more. All right. So great. I'm so glad to hear about that. Performing. So do you guys do any classes on performing? So let's go back to Stephen. And
you know, I don't teach any workshops on performing, but I have written an article for Ukulele Magazine on how to play like a pro. So some of the concepts of what to think about if you want to start to get into performing.
Yeah.
So it's actually available for free online if you just search Ukulele Magazine, Play Like a Pro.
I think I read that one.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, it was in a recent one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I might convert that into a workshop, possibly.
Yeah. They had that. I went to the one here with Victor and Penny.
Mm-hmm.
And Danielle.
Aaron, yeah, and Danielle, Aaron and Jeff and Danielle. Yeah. And I think those are great. I think people appreciate the opportunity because they're when it's kind of scary, of course, when you first do it. And then you're not sure, at least I wasn't sure when I first started, what's good, what's bad, what should I continue, what should I not?
Well, a lot of things like butterflies, nervousness is a thing that I think never goes away. I think if you're not nervous before you're playing, then something's wrong.
Yeah.
then you shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, you have to have a little tension in there.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps the music fresh. It keeps you on top of your game.
Mm-hmm.
And just things like the mechanical things, like what's a DI box? Like how do I plug into a DI box?
Right.
What do I send to the mixer, to the house? Things like effects, which is why I'm doing the effects, the pedal class at the at Mud, because people, a lot of that is kind of like a foreign thing to people.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna kind of show people the differences of what these little boxes do.
Absolutely.
And how you can use it to enhance your sound.
Yeah, I like drenching mine in reverb. I call it turning up. I call it turning up the talent knob. Is adding that.
Great. Yeah.
Just using a microphone is. For those of us who have performed most of our lives, you don't even think about it. But people maybe they're just starting to do an open mic, and how to use a microphone, how to work the microphone, and
right.
Move back and forth from it, depending how you're singing. There's just some really basic things like that.
Right.
Don't before you get up to play your song, don't apologize for, Right. Well, I just started playing this song, so I don't know if it's going to be very good. There's all those kind of things that, when you're first starting, it's just natural to do that. And, Stephen does incorporate some of the gigging kind of things in his pedal class. I am just looking at the Ukulele Like a Pro. I'll have to read that whole thing. But yeah, Danielle teaches a lot of things about stage presence. Aaron and Jeff, like you said, Victor and Penny, and it's really important. I think there's a lot of people, either they're taking that first step into an open mic, or they're taking that step from open mic into a more formal performance, and it's not something that necessarily just comes naturally.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's an art, and you have to learn about it and work at it.
Yeah. And a big part of it is that connection with the audience and having a speaking dialogue with the audience, not just performing. Right. You have to be able to kind of read the audience and see what songs are working, what do you need to change, kind of on the fly. Especially like in a concert format, you don't want to have this preset set list. I mean, it's good to have that as a kind of like a template, but I think you should allow room for that set list to kind of change
have options.
Yeah, definitely have options.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
And that part, as far as reading your audience, you have to look at your audience. I think that's important.
Oh, that's huge.
While you're singing and playing.
I still have a bad habit of I don't know if it's a bad habit, but I have a tendency to close my eyes when I play.
Well, and that's cool too, because I mean, you're getting into it, especially on the instrumental stuff. I think you're really connecting with it, and reading the audience is the same thing that's very important for an instructor.
Oh, for sure.
I have certainly had some instructors I've seen that they're just not in tune with what's going on in that workshop, you know, and the people are like, you know, they've got that look like, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know this, and sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in what you're doing, and not get that feedback from the audience, and that's important for a performer. It's important for an instructor as well.
Cool. Yeah, I think definitely I see the value more and more nowadays of staying on your toes. And I think when you're first performing, at least for me, I just wanted to get it right and have a set list and all that kind of good stuff. And nowadays it's more, you got to go with the flow. And I did a wedding recently, and at the last minute they said, yes, play some music after they all leave. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? What should I play? And then my guitarist goes, oh, Over the Rainbow. And I go, oh, of course. And it was perfect. I mean, he did it right on. We played that and they loved it. All right. So I just wanted to take a little break right now and talk a little bit about my sponsors, which is really you guys out there on Patreon. But I also want to give you guys a chance, and let's talk about anything coming up. So we got Mud coming up in May. And Stephen, what else are you doing? You know, do you have a CD out? What should we do? If you do have a CD, by the way, send me the links to it. I would be glad to. I always include it in my show notes. So what's coming up for you?
Yeah, for sure. I have 2 CDs out right now, and I'm actually right about the halfway point on my 3rd CD. I record with the same producer in Hawaii, Dave Tusharone. He's a great producer that I've just enjoy working with. So we're about halfway through with that project.
Nice.
So I'm trying to get it done by this year, hopefully.
Are they your CDs? Are they original mix of traditional Hawaiian? What can we expect?
Yeah, a mix of traditional Hawaiian and a few originals. I co-write with a couple of friends throughout all of the albums as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, send me the link and so people can check them out.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Cynthia, what's going on for you in the ukulele world?
It's actually coming up on a really busy season right now. And as you know, I also teach regularly every week, private lessons and classes and adult orchestra and all those things. But May is going to be fun because I get to be at Mud the second weekend in Michigan. And then I'm teaching at Midland Ukulele Fest here in Ontario the weekend after. And then after that, I'm headed to Scotland for the Ukulele Festival of Scotland.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll be full of festival.
And after that, you have camp.
What's that?
I said after that, you have Midwest Youth Camp. So.
And then Midwest Youth Camp, exactly.
And what are you going to be doing at the Scotland Ukulele Festival?
So I'll be performing. I'll be doing a set with my husband. We have a duo. It's called Transit Lounge. And and then I'll be teaching three workshops, maybe 4 there too. Can't remember now.
Wow.
At least 3, but yeah.
Okay. I wonder if Gerald Ross is going to be there, or maybe
I don't think he's at this year. He's been there though.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Another one is Zoe Bestel. Say hello.
She's going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, the Naked Waiters are going to be there too.
Oh, nice.
And the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain are the big headliners. So
no kidding. That's great.
Should be fun.
Yeah. So. Well, speaking of performers who close their eyes, I swear, nothing against Jake Shimabukuro, but I swear half the time his eyes are closed. So I think you're in good company. Okay.
But he's still connecting with the audience.
He is. He really is. I'm just, but I swear, he's like so focused and his eyes are closed sometimes, but he's like, how does he playing when he's not really looking?
Anyway. He kind of knows what he's doing, I guess.
Okay. All right.
That guy.
All right, Ben.
There's a lot going on. Well, we've got Mighty Uke Day coming up, Mother's Day weekend, and that's May 10th through 12th. Then 2 weeks after that, I'll be at the Ashokan Uke Fest in the beautiful Catskills. It's gorgeous there. 3 weeks after that, we have Midwest Uke and Harmonica Camp, which is a collection of 16 different instructors
Wow.
over. It's what is the schedule I just put together? 64 different workshops.
Whoa.
At all different levels. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
You need to
And
hire
then
someone just to schedule everything.
the scheduling, I put it off as long as possible. And then, I get out, I make this big piece of cardboard with a grid, and I take sticky notes and just keep putting them all over the place. You gotta you got to get the right, you got to get each performer, each teaching artist has so many classes. You got to organize them into beginner, confident beginner, intermediate, advanced intermediate.
Right.
Other harmonica. We have a whole, group of harmonica classes. And I've got a bunch of odds and ends of things in the summer, and the Ukulele Kings are going to record their second CD this summer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we're excited about that. And then the fall, it just keeps going. Uketoberfest. And we're going to do U for Uke Week in the Upper Peninsula in October this year, because I couldn't do it in the spring. So
did this all start off with the Mighty Uke film?
It all started off when I went to the festival, the Hawaii festival in Waikiki. I happened to be
the annual one with Rosakuma. Yeah.
Festival, and I just happened to be in Hawaii, and go figure, there was an ukulele festival going on.
Yeah.
I go, well, I'll go see what this is all about. And that's when I just fell in love with the ukulele.
Wow.
That was one of Bill Tapia's last gigs.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And there was, obviously players from Hawaii, players from Japan, 4 women from Sweden singing in Swedish and playing ukulele, which I thought was
nice.
Unique.
Yeah.
And the thing that hooked me was the Luongo ukulele group.
Okay. Yeah.
This is when Peter was still working with the school kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that just got me hooked. And that's when all this crazy stuff started here in the great state of Michigan. So
so all the roots go back to Hawaii anyway. Yeah,
they do.
Very cool. All right.
Can I plug an event I'm doing next weekend, actually?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a really fun, it's called the Beatles Youth Jam, that's hosted by Cynthia Lynn and Ukulele. And and I'm actually playing bass on that gig. I actually started out as a bass player. And so I'm playing bass, and Abe Lagrimas Jr. is on drums. And we're just doing all ukulele, all Beatles songs on ukulele. So it's a kind of an open event, strum along.
Nice. All right. So where's that going to be at again?
It's at the Freight and Salvage in Berkeley.
Oh, that's great.
Great theater. Yeah.
Nice. Wow. So send me the link.
I will. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. And I want to say, I always say this, is thank you so much to my listeners and patrons. Everyone who listens to the show, I want you, if you enjoy the show and you have other friends that might be interested, I want you to let them know about this, OokTown.com/podcast. I keep getting lots of feedback. So people find the show and then they start binge listening, I guess it's called. Binge whatever. And they always find some great stuff to learn, because I have so many amazing people and artists and ideas that they bring, and stories they share, experiences, tips and tricks. I learned so much. So that's one of my goals, is this year there's on average about 1,000 listeners per episode, and I'd really want to get that to about 2,000. And to help out, the first thing you can do obviously is share the podcast, recommend the podcast. And the second thing is, if you want to become a patron, that helps me out, because it helps keep the lights on, helps me do a lot more things and keep my website up to date. I mean, I'm trying to update the website, and it's going to take some funds to do that. And it'll keep the show going. I get to feel motivated I continue to bring on new people. In fact, I was going to mention to Stephen that if you have a chance, mention to Cynthia. I've been trying to get her on the show. So I think 3 times usually when I mention someone, then they appear on the show, kind of like Beetlejuice.
I'll subliminally bring it up when I see her on the Saturday.
Okay. So if you want to support the show, go over to patreon.com/OokTown, OOKTOWN. Look in the links in the show. Please support the show however you can. Being a listener is one of the best ways. And then second best is sharing, and of course, sponsoring us whenever you can for whatever you can. All right. So let's get back to the show. I have a couple ones. Oh yeah, here's one, kind of a selfish one. I just did a string changing workshop, a mini workshop. One of my most least desirable things to do with your ukulele.
I love changing strings.
You're lying.
I know. I swear. I find it therapeutic.
Wow. Okay, you're the
I like
first
taking.
person.
I make my tea.
Yeah.
And I have this whole process where I just kind of lay everything out, and I love changing strings.
You are the perfect person. So tell us your process, because I told the mechanics of how to take it off and how to tie it down at the bottom and how. But tell me your process.
Well, I typically I start with I take one string off at a time, and I don't know why I do that. I just kind of some people take all of the strings off and then clean the fretboard but I just prefer to take one string off at a time. I use the string that I take off as a kind of a gauge to see how long I need to have the next one.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and actually I'm just looking at it. I use PhD strings. Are you guys familiar with PhD strings?
No.
Yeah, those are what I use too.
Really?
They're great. They're made by they're made by a friend of mine, Jason Aramoto, down in
Why do I know
California.
that name?
He's an ukulele artist as well, and he runs a shop called U Space in LA.
That's why I know that name. Okay, and that's associated with I know Daniel Ho.
Daniel Ho
plays there a lot, and okay, cool.
Yeah, but they're great strings.
And what were the names again of that string?
Oh, it's called PhD.
PhD, just like the doctorate.
And you're bringing me a set to Mighty Uke Day, remember?
I am. High G, right?
What's that? High G tenor.
High G. Yeah.
Low G for me, please. No.
Okay.
Well, cool.
Cynthia,
So
what do you play? High G or low G?
I always bring two and one of each.
Nice. See,
so depends on what I'm playing or teaching.
Craig G and I always joke around with that.
I know. Craig gave me grief when they were here in the fall.
They're high
for
G
having a low G.
No, low G is the right G.
Right. Yeah, we I don't know if we beat you to it, but several years ago, Aldrine was giving us grief about high G, low G kind of thing.
Gerald does a great routine on high G, low G.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, kind of a takeoff on high to testosterone levels somehow. It's a Gerald joke, it's just
look at Doug. He's at work. What are you doing, Doug?
Walk into my office where I can properly talk to you. It's funny that you say testosterone levels because it's the Muay Thai fights here today.
Oh, is that right? Is that what they're having?
The what?
Muay Thai fights. It's kind of like MMA except Muay Thai.
Thai boxing, right?
Yeah, it's very violent.
Yeah, I've seen it. Wow. Well, getting back to string changing. So what's your process? Lay it out.
Yeah. So I just do one string at a time, and I kind of get them in relative pitch, and then I tune them all up at the same time at the end. Yeah. And then I do sort of this technique here. I don't know if you can see where I kind of stretch them out like that.
Oh, good idea. Like yeah.
Because it takes me about like 4 or 5 passes of that before they actually stay in tune. And I actually, on my kanila, they have a peg instead of a tie.
Okay, yeah.
If you can see that.
Yep.
So,
I got the peg in.
Yeah.
Do you buy special strings, or you just tie a knot, or what do you do at the end?
No, I just tie a knot at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I just tie a knot. But yeah, I enjoy the process. It's very therapeutic for me. I don't know why.
Okay, so I can now I can pass that along. It's almost like meditating, or
it is, yeah.
String changing. I think
Yeah,
that's
all right.
class right there.
I'm gonna have to remember that because it doesn't feel therapeutic for me. It just feels like I have to do it. It's like, oh, really?
Well, you know, the part that kind of makes a lot of people cringe is when they get up to the top and there's that fear of the string breaking.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gotten over that fear.
Well, the way I hear you. I used to feel that way, and then I figured out, just have 2 ukuleles so that you can relatively tune them, and that's a really good excuse for all you ukulele players out there for justifying the second ukulele. You see,
only 2?
Only 2? Yeah, no,
only 2.
Exactly.
I usually play high G, and then what I do is I carry a baritone tuned tenor with me too.
That's interesting.
Well, in our trio, I've been using baritone tuning some just to have a contrast with our other ukulele player. Yeah. But I tune re-entrant baritone too.
Now why don't you just get a baritone? Is there because
I can carry them both in a double tenor case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I've been mainly using Fremont strings. They have a set that's and GHS.
Have you tried Craig and Sarah's?
The GHS. Yeah.
Yeah, those are great for the.
Yep, they're great. Yeah, baritone. GHS is a Michigan company, which they actually sponsor an ukulele care and string changing workshop at.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
It's pretty. I was surprised that some of the participants were telling me how much at this workshop I was doing, how much they get charged to have the strings changed. I'm like, really?
Oh, yeah, crazy.
It's like you could almost buy a new low-end ukulele for that. It's like $30. I'm like, wow.
Wait. You guys don't just when you break a string, you throw it away?
And you just don't replace it. It's true. Yeah. It makes it easier to play too. And you don't have to worry as many strings. All right. Well, anyone else want to chime in on string changing?
Send them all to Steven.
Send them all to Steven. All right. I was just thinking that. It's like, wow. All right. Okay. Let's go on to let's go to one on Namm. So quite a few of you guys went to Namm, and here's one that's very selfish for me. Is I saw these ukuleles called Mauna Loa, Calais Gamiao, I think is
plays Gamiao, yeah.
Gamiao. Okay, sorry, Calais. And I saw him play it. It was a custom one. It was amazing looking, and then he had a bass player, Milo. Milo's bass playing was just incredible. Did you get to see them play?
So this is if this is the company I'm thinking of, it's a Chinese company.
Yeah,
that was making their first appearance at Namm, and they had these like crazy wild ukuleles. And Craig and Sarah, they actually approached Craig and Sarah to bring some artists in. And so Craig and Sarah were there, and Milo generally plays with them. And then Calais was also in the booth, and I guess Milo must have played with him. They were very ornate ukuleles.
Yeah, and some of them are.
I'm not sure what they sounded like or anything, but they were really pretty.
Well, so the one in particular I was really taken by was Milo was playing the bass, and it might be just he's an incredible bass player, but I'm going, wow, that bass ukulele sounds really good, and he was really good. So I was just wondering, have you guys had any experience with them, and what do you think, Steven?
I think the bass was actually I'm trying to think of the company that made the bass.
Because Milo generally works with Ohana.
Yeah, it was an Ohana bass. Yeah.
Okay, Ohana.
I've actually played Milo's Ohana bass, and it's great.
Okay,
it's great sounding, great playing bass with the action right off the factory floor is just really low. It's easy bass to play.
Okay, and it looked like he was using wound strings. Is that sound right?
Yep. It's basically strung just like a regular bass, but it's a lot smaller.
Yeah, it looks like almost looks like a baritone size.
It's bigger. It's bigger. It's a little bigger than a baritone. Yep.
Yeah.
Is that it? Do you have one?
Yes.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, Ohana had both. Jennifer Lightham was also playing. Her and Benny Chong were playing a lot in the.
Oh wow.
In the Kanalea. Well, in Ohana and in Kanalea.
I almost bought an Ohana bass from Milo.
Oh, is that right?
At Tunes in the Dunes.
Oh wow.
They play more like a real bass. They play more like a actual bass that you're used to playing, as opposed to like the U bass.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was
for that bass feel too.
Oh, that is cool. I would love to, but they're still smaller, right?
Too. Your Ben, Cynthia.
Yeah, mine. I finally convinced him to try a U bass because he's a bass player and he was refusing for a long time because he thought they were just whatever. But
he's playing the Ohana.
He did, yeah. Well, he didn't like the floppy strings, right? So as soon as Ohana had this one, and of course I have the relationship with Ohana too, so I was able to get one for Ben, and he actually brought that one to Finland with us too, and we just played over there. It's great because they're so portable.
Yeah,
but it plays like a great little acoustic bass and sounds great plugged in. And
well,
yeah, you can actually put wound strings on the U basses as well.
Yep, they do. Our bass player has switched over to those. I think they seem more accurate to me than those. Rubber.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the Ohana one was designed from the ground up to have wound strings, which I'd be like, that's really what I'd like. I'm not a bass player. I just want to have that available. So when I do make music, I'll have that around. I have a full size bass and it's almost too big for me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back to Namm. Besides that, so Mauna Loa is kind of an interesting. Calais was playing that and it sounded great. Of course, that's when you have. So I can't judge from that, but it seemed like they're really doing a good job. They had like laminate and also solid. Was that right? Do you know? Who knows?
I didn't look at it. Like I said, when I saw them, they were beautifully ornate.
They were.
Yeah, I was there with Farida guitar and ukulele, which is I'm actually working as their national sales manager.
Great.
Yeah, they're made. We start out with guitars, and they're designed after classic guitars of the 30s and 40s and 50s, and
hey,
look who's there.
Hello, am I too late?
No, we're still going. So get yourself set up, and we'll get back to you. So
great. Sorry, I didn't realize the time difference was so big.
Looks like you just woke up. All right.
But we start off with guitars, and Elderly Instruments has imported them and had a lot of success with the guitars. And then we wanted to do ukuleles as well. So we have 5 different categories of ukulele, from a basic cedar to a mahogany to an acacia and 2 levels of koa. And we kept a really traditional style with them. So we debuted them at the Namm show this year. And of course, we were only a couple rows away from all the action at Kanalea and Kamaka, which is, I could just spend most of the whole damn show just over there. Because between the 2 of them, there's like every ukulele player in the world.
Right.
And they have kind of a Kanakapila thing going where everybody's jamming and it's all like the top ukulele players in the world jamming over there. So it's the whole Namm show. We're mainly in the lower level. All the ukulele companies and acoustic guitar companies. And it's great because you go upstairs and it's like you walk through the drum section and you can't hear anything.
That's probably why they separated it.
It's definitely worth experiencing that the busy loud section, but it definitely it gets old after a day. the main stage, after an hour, because you have like a horn section competing with all of the drums that were ever created in the world.
Oh no,
going off at the same time. I like to describe it as try to picture 500 guitar centers tied together.
Yeah.
With every musician playing at the same time. That's my description of Namm on the main floor. That's why we all hang out in the acoustic level down below.
Well, I'm glad they have that acoustic section because I would never be able to survive that long on with all that's going on. All right, so what did you guys see over there that you want to report on? Obviously, we've got the report on the new ukuleles that Ben is Ben's repping. What about you, Stephen? Or by the way, Cynthia, were you there?
No.
Okay. Well, if you have any questions, just chime in on this. Because, so what did you see there that was interest to you?
I typically I've been going about 10 years now. I think this last year is my 10th year, and I usually go for Kanila ukulele. So I kind of hang out at their booth for most of the day that I'm there. But I kind of venture into sort of the a lot of the where the Chinese manufacturers are. I like to see what new cool gadgets and pedals I can get for pretty cheap. I picked up a little mini looper, and works really well, and this little mini tuner and a analog delay pedal. That was really cool.
Analog delay? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was like in a little tiny. I can go grab it if you have.
Let's jump on over. And then I'm not even sure who we have from the Naked Waiters.
Clark.
Clark.
Okay, because Clark emailed me and said that Nathan couldn't make it. So we're so glad you're here, Clark, of the Naked Waiters.
Thanks.
I hear you're in Hawaii. Is that right?
Yeah. We're living on Oahu right now.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, that's why, because that's like 9 o'clock there, I think.
Yeah.
When the show starts.
Yeah.
I would have put the time in there. I didn't realize you're in Hawaii. For some reason, I thought you were on the mainland.
Oh, no, you're all right.
Yeah. So this Clark is from the Naked Waiters. I saw some of their videos. Never heard of you guys, and wow, you guys have all this harmony going on. In addition to the ukulele, and does someone play a bass? What instruments do you guys play?
Yeah, so we usually have a U bass, a baritone, and a tenor ukulele.
Okay, nice. So you got all the flavors.
Yeah, we like to keep it ukulele based, but sometimes Andy plays the guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you do because I noticed that it seemed to emphasize the harmonies. Is that part of the style that you guys have?
Yeah, big time. So Kim and I, he's my roommate here in this room here, but yeah, we do a lot of the arranging of the harmonies. Andy's more of an instrumental guy, so he likes to make that his highlight. But Kim and I, we're kind of natural vocalists, so we like to create harmonies, and that's one of the funner things we do with this group. So we usually just create harmonies, give them to Andy, he creates instrument parts, give them to us, trade off that sort of way.
So we covered a lot of ground here. So if any of these pique your interest, chime in.
Okay.
So you're going to be going to Mud, right? The Mighty Uke Day Festival. What are you guys, besides performing, workshop wise, what are you guys going to be doing?
You want me to tell you?
I believe. Yeah, please.
Let's see. Let me go through here. They're doing a harmony singing.
There you go.
Workshop.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. They're doing, let's see. Scrolling through all these things. I should just go to the
I appreciate it.
Let me go to the actual schedule here.
I needed the same help from Ben to
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do quite a few workshops. A lot of the times we'll do like a sing the strings type of thing. You know, we use the ukulele 4 strings to arrange harmonies a lot, you know, just based on the chord you're playing.
Okay.
And so we've taught that a few times. That's kind of a thing that we go back to every now and then, you know, just singing the strings. Or we were just in Australia. We did some workshops for Blackbird and Pinball Wizard on the ukulele.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So a lot of times we either just teach a specific song or we're singing the strings or teaching like
You're
a
doing a
strumming
uke
rhythm, you know.
beats class, and
Okay, so you
and a chord melody crash. Or no, I'm sorry, that's Matt improvising with the major scale.
Mm.
That must be an Andy one, huh?
Yeah, that's probably an Andy one. He's mostly the improviser in our group, but we all kind of learn from him.
Right.
But workshops are awesome, man. We all really enjoy it, and it's a bonding experience as a band to be able to teach something to a group successfully.
I think that's one of the great things about ukulele festivals is that they do emphasize the learning aspect, the workshop aspect. What we had shared was, if you had to pick one or a couple things from one of your workshops and say, this is what I want a participant to walk away with, what would some of those things be? Let's say the harmony, because I could certainly use that. I have the hardest time with harmony. I understand the concept, I just don't practice it. So what are some of the things you want your participants to come away with?
Yeah, singing the strings is kind of a big deal. We always like to teach different ways to play chords, because a lot of people are stuck on the bottom end of the fretboard, and don't know how to play up here or do alternate chords. Or a lot of times we like to teach people to use major sevens instead of majors and goof off in that way, because that kind of like inspired us as a group. When we discovered major sevens, then we all of a sudden started singing jazzier things and playing funner songs. But yeah, for us, it's mostly we want you to just be more familiar with the instrument, and we want you to be able to play more comfortably without having to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we like just goofing off, It's like we like to teach, the G chord, just put fingers all around it and then add something and see if it sounds good. And then that's your new chord.
Until it sounds good.
Yeah.
You take me back to the, when I first heard my first major seventh chord, it was the group called America. So that kind of dates me. And that blew my mind. Wow, what was that chord? That sounds so California and cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you can think of anything else that you want to talk about. Let's see. So you're going to be playing at the Mighty Uke Day. What else is coming up for you guys? I mean, it's interesting. You guys are in Hawaii. I mean, do you play out there? What do you guys do?
Yeah, well, we all have part-time jobs, but we're leaning towards doing music full-time. Gigs out here pay a little bit less than in Utah, so we're doing a lot more gigs, but just at a lower rate. So we're playing restaurants a lot. We're doing bars. We're doing weddings. There's a lot of weddings out here. But right after the Mighty Uke Day, I think 10 days after, we're going to Scotland for their ukulele festival.
Oh, right. Yeah. Cynthia mentioned you guys could be there too.
Oh, it's a good festival, man. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Last year we met James Hill.
Yeah. James.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And really good guy, great player. And so we got to hang out with him, taught us a little bit. Stuart Fuchs, if you guys know him.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
He spells his first name the same way I do. So
that's right.
It's my heart. I've always I've been trying to get him on the show too. So you guys.
Oh yeah, he's a great player.
All right, cool.
Well, it's funny. You mentioned James Clark.
Yeah.
Because I knew you guys played together, so I know James pretty well. And I was talking to him. I go, so what do you think about these naked waiter guys? Because I'm thinking about bringing them to Lansing. He goes, well, there's one thing I can say bad about them. They're too darn nice.
Nice.
They're from Utah.
Oh yeah, he enjoyed you guys a lot.
Yeah, man, it was an honor to meet him. He's a great guy, and I've learned almost everything about the ukulele from watching him and Jake on YouTube. So it was really an honor to actually play with him at the same event.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, and I got him to sign my uke.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well,
speaking of nice, I mean, all those Canadians,
That's right.
All right. Well, Stephen, what were you were going to go and get? Oh, your pedal.
Oh yeah. So this is the this is my board here. So,
Oh, cool.
Wow.
So this is the analog delay pedal by the company Kuvave. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can see it. And then they also make this this little mini tuner that I got at this past Namm, and then this this looper pedal too. If you can see that.
Oh.
So I actually switched back to my Boss looper because I was having some minor issues with this one, but I hope to get it swapped back out again. But yeah, they make some great pedals for really affordable prices. I think you can find them on online as well. They're called Kuvave is the name. But I like to scope out those off the beaten path, gadgets that you can't get anywhere else but Namm, or you can get them at least ahead of everybody else.
Right. Yeah, 'cause they always bring out the cool stuff for Namm. That's one thing that would drive me nuts was seeing all those cool things and going, oh man, I want that pedal in this rack.
Yeah. There's an art to buying things at Namm too, because technically you're not supposed to purchase anything at Namm, but there's ways around that. You can kind of
place an order, maybe.
Well, no, you just have to be very discreet.
Okay. All right. Enough said.
Yeah. I don't want the Namm police finding me out.
What are some of your favorite pedals there? Why do you like them?
Oh,
yeah, I'm super interested.
Yeah. Well, this is like I've had actually this this arrangement of pedals for a little while. I've been with LR Bags for a little while too.
Okay.
And this is kind of like one of their latest iterations of their. I don't know if you've seen the LR Bags venue pedal.
Yeah.
It's a bigger version of this one. This is the Session DI pedal, and it's basically it's kind of like the venue, just a little bit more stripped down. It offers a little bit more EQ as far as kind of like a mastering sort of a pedal. It's
more subtle EQ? Is that
kind of like a mastering? What's that?
Is it more subtle or is it?
Yeah. It's a little bit more subtle. It doesn't have all of the. Like I used to use the venue, and then before that the Para DI, which has more of a wider EQ. But this one has a little bit more of a subtle EQ.
Wow. Okay.
And then next to that is
or is it just a straight preamp and EQ?
No, there is. I think this knob here is sort of like their compression.
Okay.
Even the actually went to LR Bags. And I spoke to the engineers there, and they had a hard time kind of telling me the magic that was involved in the pedal.
Cool.
And then next to that is what's that?
I hear good things about LR Bags.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, great company.
One of our guests, Hope Dunbar, she goes, yeah, I have this. I said, what do you have? She goes, I don't know, it's something LR Bigs or Bags. I'm like, what? You got an LR Bags?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I let my know this stuff. I'm like, geez, that's a great thing.
And then this next to it is the analog delay pedal that I told you about.
That is cool because analog. I mean, do they have a little tape in there, or is it just mainly an analog?
No, it's just the circuitry that they use is analog.
Is that the Fest Night one?
Which one?
Is that the Fest Night? Or is
it's
They got a couple of them.
Yeah, what type of circuitry they have in there? But they also
Quave Green Valley 113. I'm looking at the channel.
You're looking at it too.
They did have a digital delay also available at Namm, but I chose the analog one.
Right.
And this turquoise pedal here is actually a dB boost. So
okay.
Basically just kind of gives me a little bit of volume boost when I need it for solos.
You just punch that in. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And then this cool pedal here on the end is a harmonizer. Vocal harmonizer. So I kind of use that sparingly.
That's awesome.
Add some vocals.
And what brand is that?
This is the TC Helicon.
Okay. Wow.
H1 vocal harmonizer.
Yeah, they're definitely the ones to have for.
The cool thing about these, I use a looper a lot. So when I play a lot of casual gigs, so the looper and between the looper and the harmonizer sounds like I have a full band,
That's awesome.
that shows up, and I don't have to pay.
Yeah.
It seems more and more these artists are not these artists, you artists. It almost is like you have to know how to use a looper, and I'm like, oh man.
It's kind of it's a tricky, actually. A looper is actually it's a hard thing to master. It's sort of like taking on an entirely new instrument. You know, you have to know when to hit the downbeat at the exact time, or else the whole loop is
I know it's all messed up. Yeah, I know artists are like touring nationally that are just looping.
Right.
Yeah, there's an artist named Kavehi. She's actually from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she does that all over. It's like, oh man. I mean,
she's great at it. She's definitely mastered that art form.
It's scary. Yeah, she does beats with does beats and adds those in, and and who's the other one? Elise Trowell or somewhere, I can't remember her name. Anyway, I hate talented artists that just make it look easy, you know. If you have,
and Ed Sheeran, he travels the world doing loop pedal as well.
He played Wembley with just him,
just himself.
Guitar. Yeah,
kidding.
Wow,
that's right. Yeah,
he's pretty amazing.
There's another guy, which he gets me just. It's like you don't know if his name is Jacob Collier, and have you guys heard of him?
Absolutely.
And, it's like, what? How can someone have so many talents? That is not right.
Yeah, he can play everything. He plays bass, guitar, keys, everything.
Drums.
Yeah.
Remember what else he played? I was like, what? Anyway.
But yeah, he has some covers on YouTube with like insane harmonies.
Right. And then that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I admire you artists, the artists there that play these looping pedals. So I'll have to try it out. Haven't done it yet. I bought a software called ALK. It's the second one, so it's called ALK2 from Zen Audio. Anyway, it makes looping a little easier because it has these little sections that are looped, and you can try it again and again to get it right, and then you can move on to the next. And anyway, I'm hoping I'll see what it does, but you still have to have talent, and we'll see how it goes.
It's a great thing to mess around with at home at the very least.
Yeah.
So, great practicing tool for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back to Clark. Since we talked about what you're going to do at the Mud. Since a lot of it is vocal too, we Stephen shared about the falsetto style, and you guys seem to emphasizing harmonies. So for your vocal style or performance style, is that where you guys are going? You like to keep the harmonies going with ukulele? Kind of what's your style?
Yeah, this is where we're at now, we have kind of I think developed our sound and kind of gotten it to where we imagined it to be when we first started. But at this rate, it's all about making the harmonies more complex and making the ukulele playing a little bit harder than we normally do. So we're just trying to level up it skill wise,
Okay. That's the other thing I was going to mention to people or ask of developing your style. I think it's good to have an idea of what your style is when you want to begin.
Right.
I'm not sure that you can start at your end point, obviously, right? There's no way. And it seems to me you can evolve too. Is that what you're finding, or how is that working out for you guys? How do you do it? We always kind of had the idea of what we wanted to be, and it was just all about perfecting the dream that we had. It was we had this vision when we started about an ukulele trio that was very vocal centric, and so it was all about. Andy wasn't a very strong vocalist when we started, so we did a lot of just drilling harmonies and singing along to songs in the car and seeing what we can do improvising with instruments and with vocals and things like that. But yeah, it's really cool. We take a lot of inspiration from other performers we see too. There's a lot of
chord progressions that we'll even ask for, you know, from somebody, like, what was this? And then we'll mess with it at home and try and do something with it. But yeah, you know, we try and learn from everywhere that we go and everyone that we meet, and it's been working out pretty well. We seem like we all have the same vision. That's pretty important in a band too, you know. We want to make sure we're all carrying our own weight.
Oh, I think that's great, especially if you can, if you do have a vision that you're pursuing. That's always a great place to start, and then it can always get refined and evolve from there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, anyone else? So, Stephen, you know, how did you start off understanding your style? Was it just organic? Did you know it? Did you kind of pursue it?
Well, falsetto was actually an accident. The way I started singing falsetto, as I mentioned before, I started playing. I was a bass player in a Hawaiian group, and I started singing because our singer left. We didn't have a singer, so I actually didn't know I could sing falsetto. And so what I did in the beginning was I just emulated a lot of who I listened to when I was growing up in Hawaii, Dennis Pavao and groups like Hui Ohana and Auntie Genoa, you know. So I kind of emulated at first. And through a lot of trial and error, I eventually found my own voice, and then started to mature that and get it to where I am today. But those early gigs were rough, though. I wouldn't have paid for those.
Trial by fire. I hear you.
Yeah, well, it takes a while to find your own voice, you know, especially as a singer, and it's
yeah. Vocal style is kind of hard to develop.
It is,
yeah. Well, I think you know, for ukulele players too, I think it's kind of in that same realm. If you're emphasizing ukulele, you know, what are you gonna emphasize? Is it, you know, there's so many great players out there. You got to find your own niche within that. So that can be a challenge too. Cynthia or Ben, anyone else want to chime in?
Well, our trio, I mean, we're Pat, who's our lead player, and myself, we're basically songwriters. So he and I have played together for 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, quite a while in one band called Mystic Shake, which was kind of like a world beat band. And then when that band finally broke up after 18 years, we just started playing as a duo, and then we brought in Steve as our bass player. But we're both songwriters, so we're basically, rather than playing guitars, we're playing ukulele now. And I think we've taken some of the songs that we played before and adapted them to uke, but most we've written on ukulele, and it's just made us think a little bit differently about them. But still, for us, the song is the main thing. Yeah. And Pat's a great instrumentalist, and I'm like the rhythm dude. So you know, that's the way we've approached it, not from being like an ukulele virtuoso point of view, but just like really good songs.
Yeah. Well, I think blending and being together and having that, you know, cohesiveness is just as important. You know,
Pat and I, we're just like, you know, musical brothers, and he has a lot more musical experience than I do. I'm the one that, like Clark was saying, you know, you take a chord and you start putting different fingers on it. Well, this sounds cool, but what the heck am I playing? And Pat will go, well, blah, 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 blah. And I go, okay. You know, or he'll come up with things. He's like so influenced by the Beatles. Like he's internalized the Beatles. And so he'll come up with these different chord changes that maybe I'll be working on a song. I'm more lyric based. He's more music based. And I'll be working on a song. I go, I got to come up with something different so it just doesn't sound like a Bruce Springsteen song, like every song I write. You know, so I need this. I need some color to it. And he'll come up with some chord changes, and I'll go, God, that is like weird. Wow, what are you doing? And I play it a few times, and it's like, this is brilliant. You know, sometimes at first I'm going, well, how does this work? And then it comes out and it really works nicely. And the Beatles were good at that. You know, they put in one weird little chord somewhere.
Yeah.
And it made the whole song, you know. It made it different than everything else. So he and I have like a great working relationship, and we've been together so long. We're not afraid to give each other some, you know, real constructive suggestions and things.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't hit each other over the head with our ukuleles yet.
That's great. Have you gotten close?
Not yet, I said.
Well, Cynthia, anything that you want to add on there for your, you know, developing style and evolving?
Well, you know, as primarily an educator first, and moving more into performance aspects. I mean, I performed years ago when I was a piano player, and so, but now that we have a duo with my hubby, and because he's spent a lifetime playing bass in funk and R&B bands and things, and it's been really nice to actually try out a whole range of repertoire. We do a lot of different styles, and I'm focused a little bit more on the vocal aspect. So, and kind of narrowing that down, and we're doing some more originals these days. And so it's kind of been this interesting evolution. And of course, we're always trying to find time to do that because we have our jobs and our 3 children, and it's kind of crazy to find time for all that. So
wow, well, that was an interesting blend of funk and R&B. That would be great to have as a backbone.
Oh, R&B. I thought she said army bands. I was like,
army bands, yes.
That's it.
So that's cool.
Doug, you're in the office now.
Yes, I am.
And why did they call you in? Did the MMA or the Muay Thai get out of hand?
The one of my preamps took a nap, and so now I had to change those out, and it's one of those worst case scenarios where they only make an announcement like every 5 minutes. So they go, okay, and now in ring number 4, Mr. Guy.
Yeah.
And you go out and you adjust the level, and it's a little low. You go back and turn it up, and then you have to wait for 5-10 minutes
to do
the next. Yeah.
Oh no.
It's been a long day.
Wow. Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you got it taken care of. I thought that was some Jack Daniels you were chugging down there.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pure leaf tea.
Pure leaf tea. There you go.
Here.
More product placement.
It's been a big sales show today.
We're trying. Okay, and right, and I see Clark is doing that. We're trying to get more product placement. No one has taken up. We tried Wendy's. What did you have? You have Kona. Nice.
I've got the Kona Deep water bottle that I got at my hotel room at the Big Island just a few days ago.
Nice. So you've been to the outer islands to do gigs, or you just?
Yeah, we flew to Maui last month, and we flew to the Big Island a couple days ago.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So Maui, we did a wedding, and then a Big Island, we did a corporate event on the beach.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How's the Big Island doing? Because we have a friend out there, Andy Andrews, and last time we talked to him, he said, "Well, there's a fountain of lava about 400 yards away from my house." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, he must be close to that new black sand beach.
Is that still happening? How is it everything over there?
Yeah, we didn't actually get to check that out, but we heard a lot about it. The fissures opened up, I think, last year, August-ish.
Yeah.
And so it created a whole new space of just lava all over, and you can drive over the lava apparently.
Oh, you can drive over it now because parts of the road were just cut off completely, and they couldn't even get through for a while.
Yeah, we saw some footage. We went to the Volcano National Park, and we saw all this footage of the fissures that opened last year. It was really gnarly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, well, guys, we've been guys and gal, we've been on the show for a while. I'm gonna wrap it up. Did I? Anything else at Namm you guys wanted to mention? That gadgets, artists you saw, things that you thought were cool.
What I love about Namm is just getting to see Steven and Craig and Sarah and all these people. I mean, it's like a class reunion or something.
Yeah, I bet.
It is. A lot of times it's the only chance we ever get to see each other. But besides the festivals. But, yeah, that's definitely a fun opportunity to do that.
But the other thing I love is Steven brings his lovely daughter to Namm.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so much fun seeing her. I think the first time was maybe 4 years ago. I saw you there, and boy, she's going to be taller than you in no time.
Yeah, pretty quick. It's turned more. I used to go to more days at Namm, and it's turned more into a Disneyland trip. And then I go to Namm like one of the days. Actually, just a half a day at Namm.
Yeah, because it's Anaheim, right? So that's
it's right across.
the
They share a parking lot.
Oh, they share a parking lot.
Yeah, you can when you go into the parking lot, they ask you, "Are you here for Disneyland or Namm?" And I choose the cheaper one.
Oh, nice! Good idea. They give you an option. Great. All right. Well, let's wrap this up then. And so great to have new and returning guests. Clark, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man. Really sorry I wasn't here at the very beginning. I apologize. That's
all right. That's all right. It's great to hear about the Naked Waiters, and I'm glad they're coming out to the Midwest. I'm sorry, I don't want to say Midwest, but Mighty Uke Day Festival. Maybe we'll have you out at the Denver Ukulele Festival one of these days.
Oh, that sounds great.
Did you guys have any albums or anything out?
Yeah, we have. Well, we're working on the first album now. That's kind of why we moved out to Hawaii, is to finish the album. So we want to work with some Hawaiian producers. Yeah, maybe write some reggae style songs.
Oh, very cool. Well,
yeah.
Send me your links or whatever you have.
Yeah, no worries.
And upcoming gigs, what do you have coming up?
We've just got Mud. We've got Scotland. We've got a wedding proposal in a couple days.
Hopefully they're not
yeah, Scotland is the last. Scotland is the last big trip we have, and then after that, it's just kind of arranging to make more trips. You know, the more we travel, the better.
Absolutely, cool. Steven, you got a couple CDs under your belt. You're working on a third one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like to work with producer's name is Dave Tusharone. He's actually based out of Salt Lake. So it's like a mile from where I grew up. So that's why I like to go back and work with him. And I trust his ear. He has a great ear.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You got some gigs going up. We'll put your link in the show notes. So great to have you. Hopefully we'll have you back on again.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I'm looking forward to Mud. Got some great things to bring there.
Awesome.
And nice. Looking forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, me too.
Cynthia.
Yes.
You've got so much going on with education in the ukulele.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, it was just ongoing lessons and classes and ukulele orchestra, and I've already sold out my festival for the fall, so that's done for now. And
World City.
And World City Uke Fest, and then some traveling, some Midwest or See, I said Midwest too because that's in June. Mighty Uke Day and Scotland too, and in between another Ontario festival, and so lots of fun stuff coming up.
Very cool.
Yeah,
love to. As we mentioned, maybe get a either a ukulele festival organizers podcast or maybe just a summit. I'm really still interested in seeing how if there's teachers out here interested in that ukulele program, the material especially, and then maybe getting coaching on how to use the material.
Mm-hmm.
What should they do?
What should they do?
Like links and things like that? Do you want them to contact you? Do you want them to go to Jeffrey? I don't know what.
You can go to my website. All the contact information for all of James's programs are there too, and the ukulele in the classroom and Jahui and all that good stuff. So you can find that all there, or ukuleleintheclassroom.com.
Okay. Send me the links that you think are good, and because I think there's a lot of there could be a lot of people out here, I think all over, but in particular in Colorado that could pick this up.
Yeah, it's a great set of resources.
Awesome. Okay, and Ben.
Yes.
Thanks for arranging all this. Oh, look at this.
Well, yeah, I got Mighty Uke Day here. This is our cute new little T-shirt we have this year.
Days.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, Mighty Uke Day. Go to mightyukeday.com to find out more and to register. And then the other big thing I've got going on is Midwest Uke and Harmonica Camp. So if you look at midwestukecamp.com, and that one we have, like I said, we have 16 instructors there: Craig Chee, Neil Chin, Cynthia, Kevin Carroll, Sarah Maysel, Eve Goldberg, Katie Deneuer, ukulele, Melissa Sy, Heidi Swedberg, Abe LaGrimace Jr., Daniel Ward, and then our trio of ukulele or harmonica instructors: Andy Wilson, Sandy Weltman, and Mike Stevens. And Ukulele Zaza from Belgium will be there as well. So
wow,
64 different workshops, and it's pretty crazy.
That's awesome that you can bring people from all over.
Cynthia's been to it before. She'll be teaching there this year. Stephen taught at it 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
and it's a unique camp. There's nothing quite like this out there.
Wow.
The location is great. I love that.
It's a cool old small college in Michigan. And you get to stay in a dorm just like you did back then.
Nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
For better or for worse. But
and being from Hawaii, it was the first time I'd ever seen real fireflies. Never seen that before.
That's funny. You think a lot of people that have never been to Michigan say that, and I'm sure Cynthia's used to it too. It's just like so natural.
It was
fireflies, and I'm like,
I was amazed. Yeah,
it's magical. When I was in school in the Midwest, I went somewhere in Indiana, but we're on a lake and the fireflies, and I was just like, this is like another world. I was just enthralled by that. That's awesome. All right, Doug, what's going on?
Well, when we lived out in Kansas City, we used to see the fireflies, and we were all, and we saw a turtle crawling across our lawn. And we're all like, oh, it's a turtle. And our neighbors were like, there's turtles everywhere here. It's like, oh, but there's one like that.
You guys got to get out more.
Yeah, go outside. But yes, so we've got the April meeting, which is our moisture songs, maybe? I don't know.
Moisture songs. I love that.
Well, you'll have to come to the meeting and see what our theme is. And but yeah, and getting ready for Denver Uke Fest. Is awesome.
That would be, and I'm maybe we'll if we can. Ben, if you can find some place where they can set up and, we could do a more controlled environment.
I've got a place. I got a place we can do that.
Okay.
Last time, I think I was wandering around elderly instruments. And it out.
You couldn't hear us. It was like, oh no. But we could. I'm going to try and tie you in and and then we'll have a Gnuff Mud Denver Ukulele Festival.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be great.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we put another one. We can put another one away here. And as we do on every show, at the end, I count to 3 and everyone says aloha. Are we all down with that?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Aloha.
All right. Thanks, everybody.